Rory Van Ulft is an 11-year-old Olympic weightlifter from Ottawa, Canada. She has become well known for winning the United States Youth Nationals 4 times in her career, alongside her feats of strength and collaborating with other online personalities in the fitness community. Today I will be reacting and critiquing some of her training footage that I have found via Instagram. A lot of her training footage has become a heavily discussed topic among safety for children who are resistance training. So let's have a look at some of her training footage and discuss what could be improved upon. In this video, Rory does a front squat with a 200-pound or 91-kilogram barbell. A lot of people will instantly see that her knees are collapsing inward, even before she starts the ascent. This has become a heavily discussed topic in the comment section of the Instagram post. Now, her trainer, who legally manages the Instagram account, does not typically reply to these comments, but the trainer decided to comment on one of them, responding to a physical therapist. None of that's correct. There's never been a 10-year-old boy or girl of any size with stronger glutes than the ones you see here. Bringing the knees in on the clean recovery is an intentional technique. It protects the knees. And elastic wraps would do nothing to help a knee injury. In fact, they add risk. They increase peak power out of the hole. Now, the first part of the comment is not factual at all. It's merely an opinion. And even if she is the strongest 10-year-old to ever live, she's still a human being at the end of the day and should still avoid injury when lifting. Nobody is immortal. The next part explains that knee valgus actually protects the knees, when that actually isn't true at all. One review found that dynamic knee valgus, another name for knee cave, alongside 5 other incorrect movement patterns, has an increased risk of ACL injuries. Another study found that dynamic knee valgus also increases the chance of dealing with knee pain. Many other articles from well-known physical therapists, personal trainers, and doctors have found that dynamic knee valgus, or knee cave, is an improper movement which causes injuries later down the line. There are reasons why knee cave happens. One is tight adductors, which I suspect is the case for Rory, because anytime she is at the bottom position of the clean, her knees do collapse inward. Another cause is weak glute muscles, forcing the adductors to intervene. Now, I'm going to assume that isn't the case for Rory given the coach's statement in the reply. And a third cause is poor footwear, by wearing narrow shoes that the toes cannot handle and cannot root to the ground. According to her coach, her form is deliberate, which again is not going to help her in the long run based off of previous articles. If her coach finally decides to make changes to her form, I think it won't be as difficult to do, because recently Rory did do a Zercher squat with 242 pounds with acceptable form. By the way, very impressive lift. Good job. Now, there isn't many studies on knee cave and its risk of injury, so what I can conclude is that knee cave will not get you injured as fast in comparison to a deadlift where your low back rounds. And even if she does avoid injury altogether with this form, she will not progress as much as she could. When your knees cave in, the adductor muscles becomes the primary muscle that works during the squat. When you squat regularly with optimal technique, so no knee cave, your quadricep muscles and your glute muscles are the primary muscles during the squat. And these muscles are naturally stronger than the adductor muscles. In fact, it is currently under debate whether the glute muscles are the strongest muscle in the human body. Its opponent is the masseter muscle, which is the muscle in our jaw. So because the adductor muscles cannot get stronger at the same pace the quadriceps and the glutes are able to, Rory will not be able to increase her leg strength faster than she could. The last part of the comment talks about how knee wraps actually increases risk of injury. This is one of the few times that I can agree with the trainer. One study found that excessive use of knee wraps can cause the knee joint to be compromised, leading to weakness of the knee joint and injury later down the line. Now, this doesn't mean you will get injured if you are using your knee wraps once. It's all about using it responsibly, by incorporating squats with knee wraps every now and then alongside doing raw squats to keep the knee strong and healthy. So if Rory's trainer decides to finally let her squat with good form, or Rory decides to ignore the coach like an absolute savage and squat with good form anyways, I think she'll make a lot of strength progress. So another video I found is her sumo deadlifting 300 pounds, 3 times her body weight. And what I've noticed is that she starts the lift in a poor position. She does not wedge herself against the bar. She is looking completely up. There is a clear hip shift and muscle imbalance. This again will cause injury later down the line. So let's start off with her positioning. positioning. She does not wedge herself against the bar. Instead, she just yanks the bar. Wedging yourself against the bar is similar to performing a trust fall, with the bar keeping you from falling on your back. When you do this, you are now pulling slack out of the bar, which will put you in an efficient deadlift position without draining any energy. And to add on to the positive, it will prevent your low back from rounding. Now, somehow Rory was able to keep a neutral spine despite the poor positioning, but what I've also noticed is how noticeable her hips have been shifting. The left side of her body is clearly much stronger than the right side, hence why the weight on the left side is moving much quicker than the right, which stays pinned for 2 seconds. Hip shifts can happen for a few reasons. The first reason is that one side of your hip is less mobile than the other, and thus the tight hip will work much harder than the other. 2, one leg is stronger than the other leg. Or 3, you currently are dealing with a pre-existing or recovering from a pre-existing injury. This, once again, has become a primary topic in the comment section of the Instagram post. Her coach has replied to one of these comments, saying, "The hip shift is intentional. It's a technique, not an error. Powerlifters can cover up imbalanced pulls with mixed grips to stay within the rules. Weightlifters don't need to, and probably shouldn't. In either case, reaction forces are exactly the same, and in human beings, the cervical spine moves independently of the thoracic and lumbar spine. Looking up doesn't affect anything below the neck beyond providing a slight mechanical advantage. That's why weightlifters do it. That's why Lamar Gant did it too." Now, while her form may be a technique, it is far from optimal. Like I said earlier, one reason for hip shift is muscle imbalance, which will cause injury later down the line, and thus the weaker side will not be able to recover and grow and will cause a tear or rupture to the weaker muscles. Since Rory is only 11 years old, she will naturally be able to recover faster, but that will not be the case when she becomes an adult. One article found that children are able to recover quicker than adults. I personally do believe she does have a muscle imbalance, given the fact the weight is going up unevenly, with the weaker side taking an extra 2 seconds to catch up. One more thing I would like to mention in this post is that many people have talked about her looking straight up during the deadlift, front squats, and back squats. A lot of people have claimed that it will cause her to suffer neck pain or neck injuries. Now, believe it or not, getting injured from looking up during a squat isn't true, because the cervical spine, the spine in the neck, is the most flexible and mobile part of the spine. This is so we human beings can look around freely without having to use the rest of our body. So the trainer is correct in his assessment here. Now, while she may not get injured from looking up during a squat, one study I did found split athletes into 3 different groups. One group looked at the bottom part of a wall in front of them. Another group looked at their eyes in the mirror, and another group was looking up, similar to how Rory has been demonstrating it. The study found that people who looked slightly down had better hip flexors, which is an important tool for a full depth squat. The other 2 that were looking forward or upward did not have better hip flexor extension and had similar form. What's interesting is that another article from the same website supports looking forward rather than looking down. So based off of the articles I've just shown, I think both looking slightly down or forward will deliver the best outcome for your squats in terms of strength and health. So I personally think the trainer should have Rory experiment with looking forward or slightly down during the squat and deadlift, and then figure out which position best works for her. Now, to give my honest conclusion and take, Rory's trainer is not a good trainer. There you go, I said it. Given the fact these improper and soon to be dangerous techniques are done deliberately, there is a clear negligence of health and longevity. Now, I don't know how long Rory's current trainer has been coaching her, but the only positive thing he's gotten out of coaching Rory is making her win the Youth Nationals, helped skyrocket her online presence, and collaborate with other fitness influencers, which I am positive she's happy with. But when it comes to health, longevity, and taking care of your own body, it is a huge weak link in Rory's weightlifting journey. If she continues lifting the way she does, she will eventually suffer an injury when she becomes an adult or even a teenager, and will have to lay low on training, which could cost her from winning future world titles and national titles. And that is a lot to take when you're still young and growing. Now, I'm not an Olympic weightlifting coach, but as someone who has been a fan of weightlifting since the London 2012 Olympics, I don't know any Olympic gold medalist or an Olympic medalist has done sumo deadlifts or zerker squats regularly as Rory has done as seen from her training footage. I personally believe these lifts only exist for the sole purpose of getting more views and clicks from her Instagram posts. Anytime there is a post about Rory's sumo deadlift or zerker squats, it can garner around 50,000 hearts or more in comparison to most of her training footage performing the clean and jerk, snatch, or front squats, where most of the footage's engagement is in the 4-digit territory. And another thing I would like to add on, and this is not directly to the trainer, this goes to the people who will comment on my video claiming that she should not be lifting weights until adolescence because it will stunt her growth. And my response is no. Lifting weights will not stunt a child from growing. This claim has been debunked by researchers numerous times. And the one article I found by Google searching, "Does weight training stunt growth?" And I found a study from 2003 in which the study supports weight training for children and that it does not stunt growth. This will conclude the video. Please do not harass or send hate to anyone mentioned in this video. While I have rightfully criticized Rory's trainer for teaching her improper technique that can get her injured later down the line, and for some reason being okay with it, there can be a time where he will change things up and have her train safely. Rory is a gifted athlete, and I think if anybody can overcome adversity, it is her. All she needs is the correct guidance to success. It doesn't have to be perfect, but good enough to give her a happy and long-lasting career that could inspire future generations to come. Thank you for watching.